And so I went out to California. Some people out there that we know going to put me up and let me go to a junior college in Pasadena. And out there in March of 1948, I suffered a disastrous love affair.
A love affair.
And I wanted to join the French Foreign Legion.
It was not with an airplane, was it?
No. And when I found out that the nearest recruiting office for the French Foreign Legion was in Paris, I went into the U.S. Army recruiting office there in California. And this enlisting sergeant was a big John Wayne type, you know, lots of fruit salad, and steely gray eyes. He looked me right straight in the eye and he says, I told him I wanted to join the Air Corps. We had an Air Corps in those days.
When did the Air Force start, guys?
1944.
19 when?
44.
44 when?
47.
47? What do you say?
I think 45.
45? Yeah, 45, 44, and 47. When did it start? We just had a test on this, actually.
44. Back to 48.
48?
I think it was 53.
Keep going.
47? 53?
49.
47. That's the answer.
I was right.
After World War II. After World War II.
Anyway, I told this guy I wanted to join me because I was a pilot and I wanted to fly. I wanted to join the Air Corps. And he said, well, enlistments in the Air Corps now are closed, but if you'll join the regular Army, we'll transfer you as soon as they open. Never believe it'll be a sergeant.
Never believe.
That's how I got in the infantry and spent 4 years in the infantry with 13 months in Korea. These things are...
Well, so tell me, you said, first of all, the planes, because I can call these planes up as pictures here for the kids. You said, well, you hadn't flown the military planes yet.
No, not yet.
Okay.
Next comes the Army. I will join the Army for a 3-year sign up.
Okay.
And earn these things in Korea. That's the combat infantry badge. That's the unit I served with. That's the regiment I served with. They were there. This unit ribbon here with a silver star on it. That's not the silver star for heroism or anything. That silver star indicates 5 battle campaigns in Korea that I outlived.
And this is an Army.
This is during the Army. I also received, I never wanted these things, but I received a Bronze Star and a Purple Heart.
And actually, that's a Bronze Star here. This top one is a Bronze Star, and it does have a V with valor. Do you have any stories behind that, sir? You're willing to share?
That you can
I
share?
don't think so. I'm against telling war stories.
Well, it's helpful for the next generation to hear it, because they
Well,
never hear it otherwise.
Not too many people, the old veterans really don't talk a lot about it because they don't want to remember or discuss the time they were so afraid they soiled their drawers.
That's true. That's true. That's true.
So,
And then you got injured here. This is called a Purple Heart, guys. See the purple.
I got hurt in North Korea, and then wound up with a MASH unit in Seoul. I was with them for a couple, 3 weeks, and they sent me over to a rebel depot to recover, and then they sent me back to my unit. So I didn't even get out of Korea.
Oh man. So you were injured, right? Conrad Carolyn.
Sir, if you wouldn't mind my asking where you were injured?
What's that?
Where were you injured, sir?
Right here, maybe you can see a little scar here. Shrapnel. I was in the wrong place at the right time. So I returned from Korea and came home here to Prescott with my folks. And after about 3 weeks, I had to go out to Fort Whipple, the VA center. I had a headache that just wouldn't quit. I knew there was something wrong, and I was still a military man, and so I went out and talked to those doctors. They ran a series of tests and whatnot. I mean, finally this doctor sat me down and he said, Ben, you're gonna have to lay off your mother's cooking.
I've been eating too much, huh?
I've been eating sea rations for a year in Korea, and then I go home and eat my mother's cooking. It was just too much for me.
Got too sick.
Yeah.
Tell them what the sea rations are like.
There were several different varieties, meat, hash, some breakfast, in a can about that big around. Came in a box for 3 meals for the day. There were crackers in there, and also a little box of 5 cigarettes for you to smoke.
Did everybody you know smoke back then?
I figured if it was good enough for John Wayne, it was good enough for me.
But that's how everybody's thinking was, sir.
Yeah. So, I stayed with the unit in California until March. While I was in Korea, I was in for a 3-year hitch, signed up for a 3-year hitch. We have what they call the Truman year. And the President Truman at that time extended everybody an additional year, so I had a 4-year hitch in the Army. I got out in March of '52, came home, and there wasn't a heck of a lot going on in Prescott in those days, so I got bored about it, couldn't work, could do anything else. So I went down to Williams Air Force Base. I didn't mind military life, I enjoyed it. But I just didn't like war and I didn't like the Army. So I joined the Air Force. And they had a hard time wondering what they were going to do with me. They don't have a call for too many infantrymen.
Air Force.
They gave me a battery of 4 tests to see where my long suit was. That didn't help because I scored the identical score on each of them. And one of the officers happened to be looking at my military record and found out I had a pilot license. And he said, Ben, would you like to be stationed in base operations? And when I found out that that is the seat of flying for that base, that's where I wanted to go. And so I went down, was interviewed by the operations officer, who was a lieutenant colonel, and he hired me on the spot. And I worked there for a couple, 3 years, until I was transferred to Japan.
Where in Japan did you go?
A place called Matsushima. Now, you've all seen it because that's the place that got hit by the tsunami you saw in the newsreels.
Do you know how to spell
M-A-T-S-U.
it? M-A-T-S-U.
S-H-I-M-A.
I'm going to display this up there so that you can, kids can see, where in the world we're talking about. And that will be a good example for them to,
I think I like to sit for a while, if that's all right. If
sounds
you
good.
can't hear me, let me know. You have to increase the volume. At the Air Force, I was in good shape down there because we had 6 assistant operations officers, and they were all first lieutenants and captains and pilots. And they were pilot instructors, PIs.
So there behind you, I've got Japan up, and actually you can see it right behind your head there on the picture. So it's good then to see you were in Japan for how long?
3 years.
What was it like living in Japan back then?
Well, I enjoyed it. Let me say that in 22 years in the military, my last assignment in my 20th year was Thurs Air Force Base, and that was my 21st assignment.
So you think about it, guys, don't think about the Air Force and moving, and you said 21 moves in 20 years.
In those 3 different services. And I enjoyed every one of them. Once you've been in the service for a period of 5 or 6 years, you can't go anywhere without running into somebody you knew previously. And it's great. Big family. I enjoyed it. And this assignment to Japan was worked out between the U.S. government and the Japanese government. We went over there in 1955 to resurrect the Japanese Air Force. And we all came out of the training command, I was a flight sergeant. And so we went to a Japanese base, which was in Yamato, Japan, which is right outside of Matsushima. Matsushima is a very lovely place and quite well known as a vacation area in Japan. It's on the east coast of Honshu, north of Tokyo, and just out from Sendai, if anybody knows where those places are. We had, I'd get a class of, the students had to be Japanese ex-officers from the Japanese Army or Navy, had to be pilots, had to have some English. And every time I get a new class, I get several of the pilots that come up to me and they'd say, "Free Sergeant Howard. You teach us to speak good English." And I'd say, "Okay, you teach me to speak Japanese." And for 2 years over there, I was in that outfit. I was in Japanese language school for 8 hours a day.
Because they were teaching the whole time.
Yep. I learned to speak the language, and I learned a lot about the Japanese people, and those wings that are down on the bottom of the display there, the Japanese commander of the base.
Down here on the...
Bottom left, bottom right.
Okay. Right here. Yeah.
Those were the wings that we gave to the students when they graduated.
Japanese wings?
Japanese wings.
Okay.
The Japanese commander, when he found out that I was taking the time to learn something about the Japanese people and learning the language, came down and presented those to me. So
Oh, that's very, very neat. So you're a rare American to have a Japanese wings.
本当よ、私は少しである。
Thank you. Appreciate that.
Now, I'll tell you something about the Japanese language. When I went to Germany, I took courses in conversation German, so I could talk to those people. I learned quite a bit, and I'm here to testify that it's a lot easier to learn Japanese than it is German.
Really?
I don't know if I believe you there. I tried to learn German and it was tough for me. Where were you in Germany?
I started out at Celle, that's by Hanover in the north sector.
Okay, I'm going to show this to them.
We were on the radar site, and I had cross-trained into the radar field from base operations to radar operations, and we had a mobile radar unit up there, and we were guarding that northern
Part of Germany.
well, the northern corridor coming out of Berlin. And the Russians made it as, once you get in there and toy with our aircraft once in a while, and we'd have to call intercept aircraft up to deter them.
How did you like living in Germany?
I enjoyed it. I had a family at that time. My wife and 2 sons were with me, and we enjoyed it.
Did you live on the economy or on the base?
I lived on the economy in northern Germany. After a year, we could get that site over to the German army. This was in 66, and I was transferred to Neu-Ulm. N-E-U-L-M, Neu-Ulm.
Okay, hold on, let me spell that, try. N-E-U.
2 words, N-E-U,
Okay.
capital U-L-M. And that's in southern Germany on the Autobahn between Frankfurt and Stuttgart.
Okay, we got it there. That's not a very big place.
You're right on the Rhine River.
Right on the Rhine River.
Yeah.
That's the Rhine River right here.
Yep.
Okay.
Now across the river is a city called Ulm. We were in the south of the city, across the river in the town called Newell. And in Ulm, they have a cathedral there that was built in the Middle Ages called the Munster. And every night, the Germans during the war would get out and build bonfires around that place. And it was never bombed.
You mean during World War II?
Yes, during World
as I was
Why
saying.
would they build bonfires around to sort of make it a target?
Say again,
Why would they build bonfires around the cathedral?
so it could be seen, the Americans and British would not bomb a building that's a religious shrine.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you want to watch them bomb.
So, I was down in southern Germany for 2 years, and I took the opportunity to travel extensively in Europe. I like to tell people that in my time in the military and after that, I traveled extensively, my wife and I, and we've seen 13 colonies, 50 states, and 55 foreign countries.
55,
55.
that's a lot.
Yes. And my favorite one was Wales. I really enjoyed Wales. That's,
You want to tell them about what, here, let's push that up here. Why don't we tell them about Wales?
Wales is part of the UK, United Kingdom.
It's England over here, guys. And it's a little hump. England has 3 parts. England, Scotland, and Wales are all one country right now, but they used to not be.
And now
And Wales is what he's talking about right here. Where in Wales were you stationed, sir?
I went to stationary.
Oh, you went visit, you're saying?
There, yeah. As a matter of fact,